Well, today always we have something different. Today is World Diabetes Day. Significant in my life. On November 24th, almost 1 year ago, my 11-year-old daughter, 10 years old at the time, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 10, and she is a rock star. I could not be more proud of how she's handled that diagnosis. She got the double diagnosis of celiac, which means she's allergic to gluten, as well as having type 1 diabetes. And so me and my wife now have a new alarm clock at night where we get to watch her blood sugar number 24 hours a day. But she keeps that thing. There's a steady line that goes across of where it should be between 70 and 110. And that girl is, she's a rock star. She's never too high. She watches the lows. So everybody that has diabetes, today's World Diabetes Day. And there's an organization called Pump New Mexico, which you can donate to help families that aren't as fortunate as we are, that might not be able to afford a diabetic pump for their child or themselves. That diabetic pump was a game changer in keeping the blood sugar level the way it's supposed to be. The down payment or the insurance cost, the deductible on those is anywhere from $700 to $4,000. And so if you can't afford that, you're constantly having to give yourself injections, multi-daily injections, and it's a lot harder to keep your blood sugar. And the problem with little ones that have it is when they're in their mid-20s and 30s is when they start having vision problem, extremity problems if they didn't take care of their diabetes when they were younger. So if you want to get involved with an organization and donate to Pump New Mexico, it's pumpnewmexico.org. It's pumpednm.org. You can get on there and just spread awareness. Always, if there's anything anybody can do to help, always spread awareness. Obviously, we'll get back into the football now. Thank you for that. But Chloe, I'm just really proud of my daughter. So the game against Boise, obviously, I've said it numerous times over the last 2 weeks, our margin for error. We were toe-to-toe. Devin obviously got the start with Dylan being out with strep throat. Dylan practiced today and will start Saturday. But I thought Devin played unbelievable as a true freshman. Obviously a little bit nervous on the first couple plays of the first series. Boise went down and scored and got the 2-point conversion in our first series on offense. On the second play, Devin drops the snap where we got a quarterback run, a quarterback read, and then we called the protection the wrong way on the next play, and so we had to go out 3 and out, and we have to punt after Bill made a really nice run on the first play. And then Devens goes out, and we stop him and get the ball right back, and then Devin put together a tremendous drive to go right down the field and make it 8-7. We give up a one-play score. Offense goes right down the drive again, makes it 15-14. We were going toe-to-toe with them. Obviously, we need to get more stops on defense so that our offense can get in front of them. But the bubble kind of burst when we had the ball down there, down by 2 scores with an opportunity to make it a 1-score game down on the 7-yard line, and we fumble the football and then give up a field goal. And it's 32-14.5 instead of having a chance to make that a 1-point game with the first drive since we deferred in the second half. It's unbelievable how hard our kids play and the fight that they put up. But obviously we're not making enough plays, and we're making mistakes in key opportune moments on defense on Saturday night. It was third downs. We've been good on third downs up until the last 2 weeks, and we've given up 50-50 balls that we had plays that we made against Hawaii, plays that we made against San Jose State in the first half, plays we made against Nevada in the second half. We did not make those plays on Saturday night, and 2 of the 3 led to touchdowns, and the other one led to a field goal. So if we can get off the field and give our offense some momentum, we can stay in these games significantly longer, and then the longer we are, the better we play, the better chance obviously we have to win. So the lopsided scores aren't indicative of how hard our team's playing, or it's all indicative of mistakes that we're making to shoot ourselves in the foot, which is really frustrating. But the perfect example, the 75-yard touchdown that we gave up on the 1-play score, that is the exact same play that Jamarius Lewis intercepted against Hawaii down here in the end zone. Exact same route concept, exact same coverage. And we make that play that night, and if we make that play, if he reacts the same way on Saturday, he's going to have a chance to make the similar play, but we made a mistake, and our margin for error ain't good enough to be able to do that. So we get an opportunity this Saturday against Fresno State, very important game. Obviously, they're still trying to get themselves in contention for the Mountain West Championship game. They need a little bit of help, being that they have 2 conference losses, and UNLV and Air Force have one. San Jose State's tied with them with 2, but San Jose State has the head-to-head. And then UNLV has to play Air Force and San Jose State. Fresno has us and San Diego State. And then, so there's all kinds of scenarios. I'm sure, does the Mountain West have it on there, Frank, somewhere where all the nonsense plays forward to see who can get in there? It'll be, it's really interesting. On both sides of the ball, obviously Coach Tedford does a great job. They had the longest winning streak in the nation up until the Wyoming game, or second longest winning streak in the nation up until the Wyoming game. They're dynamic on offense. Mikey Keene, who took a really big hit on Saturday and left the game, and Logan Fife came in, who played against us last year and had a big second half. He can make every throw. Very similar to Chevin Cordero talent-wise. And Maddox Madsen, they can throw the deep out. They can throw the deep post to the wide field. They can throw the deep corner out to the wide field and make all those throws. Now, he took a big hit and they pulled him out. I would anticipate we're expecting him to play. I think Mikey Keene is a tough kid. And then Malik Sherrod, number 22, the running back. If you watch the Boise game, he took a kickoff return that was squib kick, 96 yards, right up the gut for a touchdown. He's dynamic and can run and can make you miss in the hole. And then Fresno always has dynamic receivers. Eric Brooks, number 3, his delayed routes, his out and ups, all those are spectacular, and they do a great job in the red zone with those. And then obviously we'd like to have Trey Watson here. We would like to have kept him home. Number 84, tight end from Cleveland High School. Really proud of him and what he's able to accomplish in his time up there at Fresno. He's a big part of their offense, and they throw it all over the place. And then defensively at all 3 levels, they've got some guys. Lightfoot, number 92, inside is twitchy, he's powerful, can hold his gap, gets off, makes plays. They can get pressure with a 4-man rush. Langley and Bailey, 6 and 9 at linebacker. They can run sideline to sideline, and they're aggressive. And then Maurice Norris Jr., number 7, he's one of the most dynamic DBs that we've played against and that really I've seen on tape this year. He's everywhere on the field. He'll line up at corner. He'll line up at nickel safety. He'll line up at free safety. He'll line up down on the line of scrimmage. He'll play in the box. What's impressive is that young man's able to do all those assignments and not make mistakes and make as many plays as he does. And then if you have a receiver that you think is your best one, I can guarantee you 7's going to be lined up over him with opportunities to cover him. So they've got a lot of belief in him, and on tape, all that belief is worthy of the credit he's earned. So we've got a great challenge. Our team is excited to have the opportunity to play. We had a good practice today with good energy. Obviously, clean up the mistakes tomorrow and Thursday, and then go out to Fresno and get after it on Saturday night at 8:40 our time. Goodness. And I'll open it up to any questions.
I didn't ask you on Saturday, what was the rationale behind Devin Smith getting the start over DJ?
DJ decided DJ's got some things going on in his life personally, had a funeral in the family, and just needed to step away from football for a little while. So Devin Smith was the next man up, and I thought Devin did he gave up a couple of protections, but Devin did a nice job, and Devin will start Saturday.
Are you anticipating DJ to be back by the end of the season at all, or?
I don't know. I don't think so. DJ has another year to play, but I would guess not with 2 games left.
Coach, the way that Bronco was able to get involved in the pass game, was that just a case of where Devin was looking at him a little bit more? Just in a way that we hadn't seen the tight ends get involved?
No, it was I think what Coach V does a fantastic job of is every week finding out certain weaknesses that we can exploit with different players, and through different formations and all those things. There were some things that Trace and Wyatt were able to do. And then obviously Devin showed with his feet, he's pretty dynamic and can keep plays alive. And then a couple of those throws that he threw to Trace, one of them looked like a Patrick Mahomes type deal. Underarm from the sideline falling out of bounds. That helped the tight ends get involved. And then Trace is a really good player, and when we get the ball in his hands, he can do some good things with it. And then we found some concepts where they were able to run past the defender or get open in the windows, and then Devin was able to find them.
Coach, you talk about how dynamic the receivers Fresno State has. How do you emphasize on defense? You talk about margin of error, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you make sure that that's really an emphasis, knowing that these receivers look like that in the scout?
Well, when we're in man coverage, it's unfortunately it's a simple formula, but it's hard to. And what Fresno State does offensively with all their movements and motions and everything, it's called, we call it here, it's dirty eyes. You have to focus. And when man coverage, your guy's going to take you to the play, run or pass. In zone coverage, you should see what the play action is, read uncovered linemen, and then read the quarterback. And so training those and a lot of kids growing up, it's a crazy concept. In man coverage, they look at the quarterback, and in zone, they look at the man. I mean, it's a complete opposite of what you want them to do. Because in zone, they know they have to cover an area, so they look to see where those guys are in their area. In man, they know the quarterback's throwing the guy to their guy. If they're throwing it to their guy, they want to see if the quarterback's throwing it to their guy, so they have no speed up. And you got guys like Dante Martin who do such a good job with their eyes, and they do such a great job with their technique when they're supposed to. And then you've got guys like Demetri Johnson who does a fantastic job in zone coverages and reads the quarterback and steps in front of. Now, Demetri's dropped a couple interceptions this year, but he's in the right spot. So constantly going over that and protecting them in practice with reminding them in practice so that we don't have to protect them in coverage on game day. And Jamaris, I mean, he came up and apologized. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I mean, I appreciate that because you're taking ownership of it. But every single play, you have to make your next play your best play. And we can't make those mistakes. I mean, those mistakes are costing our football team. And you got to be able to build on it, obviously fix it in practice. It's addressed. I mean, you call stuff sometimes and there's safety valves that shouldn't happen, and all of a sudden you have two guys chasing a sail route and the post is wide open. So we've got to eliminate that.
How much can you attribute, the defense's struggles this year to kind of an inconsistent pass rush that hasn't quite, it's been a little underwhelming in some ways?
I mean, obviously when the quarterback has more time, he's going to be better. We could have blitzed 6 on that post, and it was a 3-step drop, and he threw it up over the top. I think the biggest struggles that we're having defensively is the elimination of players right down the middle of the defense. Ray Lutele, Alec Marenko, Tavian Combs. I mean, those guys were significant pieces and value added on, and obviously the depth is – Derek has done a really good job replacing that. Obviously there's been some true freshman mistakes, but I can't sing Derek Moore's praises enough. Probably dumb of me to do so that I can just attract every Power 5 school to come through here and look at Derek Moore. But Derek Moore's a really good football player. We have a little depth issue, obviously, with the guys that we've lost with in the middle of the defense, and then Cy Riley's beat up. And when he's healthy, he plays really well. I thought he did some really good things on Saturday. But when you take a guy that can play both spots and now you lose to, and Alec is I'm so proud of Alec Marenko. He's been the biggest voice on our side of the ball on defense. He's got every single thing that you could imagine being wrong with a human being playing football, and he fights through it. I mean, it's unbelievable what that young man does to get to game day on Saturday. If those guys are healthy, we're completely different because you can do different blitz stuff inside. You can get more when Alec Marenko's healthy and Ray Luatelli's healthy, and we get in a 4-man front, and that guy's coming off the edge. I mean, there was a ton of people that had a tremendous amount of trouble blocking those two last year. Alec is still getting that same pressure, but Alec, when we lost him at targeting, we missed the first half of Nevada, and then we lose him in the second half. Really, Alec played about 17 plays on Saturday and got injured. I mean, it takes a big drop-off, and so it's hurt significantly.
Are you expecting Alec to play this Saturday?
I am. Alec will give us everything he's got for as long as he possibly can. Sometimes it's the full game. Sometimes it's a half. I mean, it all depends on what – and they're smart too. I don't think anybody's intentionally trying to do stuff, but they take shots at Alec Marenko, and he gets beat up from different spots. But we expect him to be there Saturday, and he'll play as long as he can. Hopefully it's 4 quarters.
And was it a new injury or a re-aggravation of something on Saturday?
He got a combination of everything. He's got a bad AC joint. He's got 2 bad knees, one that's scar tissue from the surgical recovery, one that's torn meniscus on the other side. He's got back spasms. It's something with the joint in the top. I mean, you name it. I mean, if you can list a football injury, Alec Marenko has it. And you wouldn't know. When he's on the field, you wouldn't know, which is an unbelievable credit to that young man and how tough he is.
So did you say that Dylan's going to resume starting on Saturday?
Dylan will start Saturday, and we will play both quarterbacks like we have. If Devin's hot, Devin will stay. If Dylan's hot, Dylan will stay. We'll go back and forth and do different things with both of them because both of them do different things really, really well. Dylan needs like 130-some yards to get to 2,000, which we haven't had around here, 175. I mean, we haven't had that around here forever, and I anticipate Dylan, I mean, we expect him to throw for 200 yards like we do every week or plus. And then if Devin gets in there, I have no problem. I see Devin throw for 200 yards and run. So we're going to use both of them because they present different problems that they have to prepare for. And so you'll see them both on Saturday.
Was there anything outside of Dylan's help that went into that decision as far as who the starter was going to be?
Absolutely not. If Dylan would have practiced on Wednesday, Dylan would have started. Dylan didn't practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. He was here Monday for meetings and started to feel bad, and then did not practice Tuesday, wasn't able to get out of bed. We had a conversation as a staff, myself and Coach V, and if Dylan wasn't able to practice Wednesday, then Devin was starting. And to be fair to both of them, because, I mean, obviously, if you don't see the reps in practice, you're not going to give yourself the best chance to play. And then Devin having the opportunity to prepare and go in Saturday. But if we tell Boise State that Devin Dampier's our starter, they're going to change their game plan. So we chose not to say anything until the game started. And I wouldn't do it any other way going forward.
There are a couple of freshmen, really contribute in recent weeks, and just with where things are at right now, how much of a thought is there to give even more freshmen just some reps, just to kind of build for the future?
The ones like Nick Trujillo has one game left in the next two to play without losing his red shirt, and I'm not using his red shirt because Nick Trujillo is going to be an unbelievable football player around here. Jacob Godfrey has one more game to play. Nick played some on Saturday and did some really good things. Devin's obviously, I mean, he's not redshirt and he's played and played in every game -2. Trying to think what other freshmen that are potential that we've got listed. The ones that are playing, we won't burn a red shirt on if we at that point that we think have a future. The ones that have already played more than 4 will continue to play. Like Derek Moore, I mean, he's starting on Saturday, and we expect him to play at a high level.
And Coach, traveling to Fresno, I mean, are you able to explain what the atmosphere is like playing at Fresno State? And also, you guys have a late kickoff time too. Are you guys doing anything different to kind of prepare for that, or do you guys do anything slightly different?
So no, we get up on Saturday morning, we eat breakfast, we go over to the stadium, we throw the ball around and stretch and get loose and all that stuff just to get them out of the hotel room. And then we come back and we do a little walkthrough around the stadium. We have lunch. I mean, we've had, this is the third 8:30 game by our clock, so they know what to expect. They know what kind of schedule to expect. The atmosphere that we had at Boise on Saturday will be just as electric as it is at Fresno State. So nothing now. The difference between Boise and Fresno is in both end zones. In Fresno, they don't have the student section or the band right there. So it's a little bit different, a little bit easier to communicate when you're backed up. Boise does a phenomenal job, and I mean, we did stuff with music all last week. Obviously, we should have went with the silent count after the snafu on the kickoff return. We should have went with the silent count so that we could get out of there without the 2 penalties. But give their fans credit. They did a phenomenal job when we were backed up. It was loud. I mean, our kids had trouble hearing, and obviously it affected us, and then we had to punt the ball. Luke has already played 4 games, so we won't play Luke. We're going to keep it now for the next 2 years, or for the next year to redshirt. So Luke won't be out there Saturday, and he hadn't been in the last couple of games.
Well, in terms of, I mean, playing Devin more in some ways, you said you always have a 15 to 20 play package. I mean, do you guys have a bigger number in mind heading into this game?
It depends on who's hot. If Devin's hot, Devin will stay. If Dylan's hot, Dylan will stay. If they're both hot, then it'll be a combination. You can see it 50-50, but it's all going to be predicated on how the game's going. What gives our football team the best chance to win? And if it's Dylan, it's Dylan. If it's Devin, it's Devin. But we're not going in with, well, Devin's only going to play these certain amount of plays. Devin is prepared to run more so this week and last. He's prepared to run every single play in the game plan, as there were certain plays before that he could go in there and do it if something happened to Dylan, but it wasn't the primary focus for Devin during the week. With a true freshman, when you put the entire plate out there for him, I mean, there's more I mean, Devin made a couple mistakes on Saturday, throwing it to the wrong guy, different reads, those mistakes that Dylan, a fifth-year senior, doesn't make. But Devin got better and better as the game went along, and will continue to get better with his reps. So we don't have a 15 to 20. Devin's familiar with the whole thing, but obviously the plays that are called are dictated by who's in there and what we're doing best at the time.
And you've talked about Mikey Keene at the top of the presser as well, but I mean, he is still dealing with minor concussion symptoms. So I mean, Fresno said they're probably going to have a little bit of Fife at the very least. I mean, can you just talk about the player that he is and how he kind of?
Logan Fife had a great second half last year against us. I mean, the first play of the third quarter was a big play over the top, and the score's 13-6 halftime, and they were able to take control of the ball game. He can make he's a really good player. He's come in. He came in the Wyoming game. He played the majority. The next week came in for the during the UNLV game. Obviously came in against San Jose State. They don't change what they do offensively, so the preparation doesn't change. I think they're both really good quarterbacks, and so if we were going against Devin and Dylan, you prepare differently. They don't change the offense when Logan fights in there. The only thing might see a little bit more is some quarterback power runs, whether it be the fly sweep with the read or the stretch read and stuff like that. They run a few more of those with him. Outside of that, the passing game doesn't change. I don't know what their concussion protocol looks like with him getting hurt. I'll tell you what, it must be something. Jaden Daniels got knocked out with a concussion against Alabama. He threw for 606 yards this week. So good for them. I'm close to Jaden Daniels because of my time with him at Arizona State. I am so proud of that young man. I think he's playing the best football of anybody in this country, and I think he deserves to be the Heisman Trophy winner. And when you come back from getting hit like you did against Alabama and have 606 total yards, I'm so proud of that young man. Good for him.
And then further health updates, Sherrod and Zach Vigil in particular.
Zach practiced today. Sherrod did not. Who else was banged up? So we expect Zach to play. Everybody else, we'll see. Tavian Combs won't play. Alec Marenko will play and go as long as he can. Is that? Jay Sean Lowry practice and Jay Sean will play both on special teams and on defense, which will help. So give us some depth at linebacker, which is a positive.
I haven't asked about him in a couple weeks, but at this point, is there a chance Diarco gets cleared before?
No, he will not be cleared. You won't see Diarco this year. You'll see him next year.
And you knew him as a player. You've worked with him on the same staff. Obviously, Zach Arnett was dismissed yesterday. Did you reach out at all or say anything?
No, I talked to Zach here and there. With everything that Coach Arnett has going on right now, he's got a little bit more to worry about than me. Calling him, we'll talk and we'll connect because he is a really good friend. I'm not even going to say anything about that.
Anything else?
Coach, after the Boise State loss, we knew you wanted to get to a bowl game this year. After that loss, that kind of makes things
eliminated it. It did. Well, 3-7. There's going to be some short bowl eligible teams. You have to be at 5-7 to get in that conversation, and then it becomes an APR deal. Amy does a phenomenal job with our APR, and we were at a significantly better point last year with football, which puts us in that conversation. But you got to win the next, get 5-7, and hope on that. Obviously, I said it last week. Our margin for error was none, and we lost. So the great thing is the resiliency of our kids and how hard they were playing in a lopsided score. That doesn't change. And I love this team, the resiliency of it. Obviously, we haven't had the outcomes that we wanted, which is disappointing. But there's no lack of fight in this team, and that's one of the greatest compliments that a coach can tell you is how hard your team plays. And every handshake has been just that volume. We just don't make enough plays. We kill ourselves and shoot ourselves in the foot, which is really frustrating as a coach and as a Lobo fan. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Go Lobos.